How's it going, Algebra 1 students? Today we are learning how to use the order of operations. All right, we've already reviewed this a little bit, but let's go through it again just so we can remember what we're doing. So some people like to say PEMDAS. Others like to say, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. That's just to help you remember the order of the letters. But let's dive right on in. We should know P stands for parentheses. I'm sure you got that. Okay. Parentheses. And we know that those look like this. Okay, so what you're doing is the stuff that's inside of the parentheses. And then we've got E. What's E for? Exponents. Great job. I'm sure you knew that. Okay, and for those of you who need a reminder on what that stuff is, remember if you're doing like 2 to the 4th power, or if you have something where it's like x squared, okay, that would be the next thing to handle. All right, and then we have M and D for multiply and divide. And remember, for multiply, that's going to be our dot that we're using, or if you have like 2 and then in parentheses 3, that's like 2 times 3, okay, so make sure that we're recognizing that as multiplication. And then we've got to divide. So you've got your normal division symbol. Remember, we've got that slash bar. And then also if you have a fraction, okay, so if you have like x over 2, that's division. Recognize all of those things as division. Make sure you're doing these from left to right as well. Don't forget that. Multiply and divide are on the same level. Same with add and subtract. That's your A and your S. Those happen from left to right, but add and subtract should be the last two things that you handle. All right, so then we're going to take a look at a couple examples here. So this first one, we've got 3 plus 4 times 5 in parentheses minus 3 squared plus 2 over 2. So what should we handle first? Parentheses, right? So this 3 plus 4 times 5, what are we going to take care of first in there? The multiplication, yes. So we would have our 3 plus 4 times 5 is 20. And then we've got our minus 3 squared plus 2 over 2. So then we would have 3 plus 20 is 23. And then minus 3 squared, that exponent is going to come next. 3 squared is going to be 9. And then we can go ahead and take care of that division, since now all we're left with is subtract, add. That division is going to happen next, so let's go ahead and do that. 2 over 2, that's 2 divided by 2. It's going to be 1. Now here's where you want to make sure you're moving left to right, okay? You want to do 23 minus 9 and then plus 1. So 23 minus 9 is going to give you 14. 14 plus 1 will give you 15. So that should be your final answer. Moving to the next one here. We've got 12 minus 4 over 2 plus 3 multiplied by 1 minus 6. So we have to do that 1 minus 6 in the parentheses first. So we would have 12 minus 4 over 2 plus 3. 1 minus 6 is going to give you negative 5. Okay, make sure you have a negative 5 in there. Okay, then what comes next? Division and multiplication. So we want to do that left to right. So we still got our 12 minus 4 over 2. It's going to be 4 divided by 2. It's going to leave you with a 2. And then 3 times negative 5 is going to be a negative 15. Okay? And then we just start simplifying that. Now we're at addition and subtraction, so we want to move left to right. 12 minus 2 gives you 10. And then we've got plus a negative 15 still. 10 plus negative 15 should give you a negative 5 with your final answer. All right, that last one down there, we've got a kind of a big fraction going on. Remember, that means to divide. But before we handle the division, you kind of want to think about having parentheses if you have like things in a fraction like this. If that fraction bar is between all of it, you want to handle the numerator and the denominator first before you start trying to divide. So we've got a 5 squared minus 7 on the top. That's going to give you 25 for 5 squared minus 7. On the bottom, you'll just have 1 plus 2 would be 3. So then, simplifying that a little bit further, 25 minus 7 will leave you with 18. And then 18 divided by 3 will leave you with 6. Okay, let's move on to the next page. We're going to see how these apply in functions a little bit. So we've got our first function here. Okay, f of x is equal to 4 minus 2x. So what we're going to do is think of a number for x, and we're going to plug that into our function, okay? Remember using our function notation stuff. So let's say x is equal to 1. Okay, let's look at that example. So we're going to do f of 1. That'll be equal to 4 minus 2 times 1. Remember to do that multiplication first, okay, before you do any subtraction. So that's going to be 4 minus 2. 2 times 1 is still just 2. And then that will be equal to just a regular old 2. Okay? Next, let's do another example quick with that. Let's say x is equal to 3. So we're interested in doing f of 3. So that's going to be 4 minus 2 times 3. That's multiplication needs to happen before the subtraction. So we would have 4, 2 times 3 would give us 6, and then 4 minus 6 would give you a negative 2. Okay? Moving on to the next one. We have f of t this time, and that's going to be equal to t squared minus 3 times t plus 1 in parentheses. So let's suppose t is equal to 2. Okay, so we're going to do f of 2, and we're going to be plugging that 2 in wherever there's a t. So we would have 2 squared minus 3 times 2 plus 1. And what we're going to have there then, 2 squared is 4. You want to handle that exponent. And then we want to do our parentheses. 2 plus 1 is going to give you 3. So then we would have, let's see, 3 times 3 is 9. So 4 minus 9, you're going to have a negative 5 for your answer. And let's do one more example with that. I want to show you guys how to handle a negative situation in here. So let's say this time t is equal to negative 1. Okay, you didn't really need your parentheses there. I just kind of put them in on accident. But we're going to do f of negative 1. When you're squaring something, you have like t squared. You want to make sure you have your parentheses this time with the squared. Okay? Because you're going to want to square that entire negative 1. So negative 1 squared, that's going to be negative 1 times negative 1. So that's going to go back to a positive 1. And then we still have our minus 3. And then negative 1 plus 1 will give you 0. So we're going to put that in there. And then 3 times 0 will still be 0. Okay, anything times 0 is 0. Remember that. So this becomes 1 minus 0. So you would just have 1 for your answer on that one. Okay, number 3 here, we've got f of w equals w minus 2, all in parentheses squared, and then plus 3. So before we do that exponent, we got to simplify whatever's in the parentheses. So let's look at an example. Let's say w is equal to 5. So we're going to look at f of 5. And then we would have 5 minus 2 in our parentheses squared, and then plus 3. So 5 minus 2 would give us 3 squared plus 3. 3 squared is 9, and then plus 3 is going to give us 12. Right, and then let's go ahead and just jump to that last example. There should be like an f of x on this one. Sorry about that. But same idea. Remember again, you want to kind of think of parentheses, but on the numerator and the denominator. You want to take care of those before you try to do any division with a fraction. So let's say we've got x is equal to, oh, I don't know, 2. So we're going to do f of 2. So we would have 3 times 2 minus 1 in the top part of our fraction, and then 7 minus 2, and then times 2. Okay, so now we want to take care of our multiplication in our numerator and our denominator. So what we will have, 3 times 2 is going to give you 6, so we'd have 6 minus 1 on the top, and then 7 minus 2 times 2 is going to be 4 on the bottom. We'll just continue to simplify that. 6 minus 1 is 5. 7 minus 4 is 3. So then you could just have 5/3, okay? And that's fine. You can have a fraction answer. Not a big deal. That'll happen a lot when you have a fraction function. All right, so that's the wrap up for order of operations. Go ahead and get started on your assignment, and make sure you're asking for help if you need help on any of the problems or have any other questions. All right, good luck.